Hi everyone. Today we're going to continue with our Civil War Impact Society investigation. Last week you completed step 1, sparking your interest, and step 2, generating questions of the investigation. This week you are going to finish your investigation by completing step 3, formulating a research question, step 4, conducting research to answer your question, and step 5, communicating your research. In this video, we are going to review steps 1 and 2 of our investigation and discuss how to develop a research question. For step 1 of our investigation, sparking your interest, you explored different sources about how the Civil War impacted society and categorized those sources into topics. Those topics included economic impacts, women, soldiers, draft, and enslaved people. This was to spark your interest and get your mind thinking about how the Civil War impacted society. For step 2, generating questions, you selected one source about the larger topic it related to. To complete step 3 of our investigation, formulating a research question, we are going to focus on 2 of these questions from step 2. The first question we're going to focus on is, what questions do you have about the source? The second question is, what questions do you have about the topic the source is related to? Now that we have reviewed steps 1 and 2, let's discuss step 3, formulating a research question. Before selecting a research question, you need to review the questions you generated last week in step 2. You will use the answer to those 2 questions to formulate your research question. When you're selecting your research question, you need to think about if your question relates to a specific topic in the Civil War. Here are some tips to coming up with a research question. The focus of our investigation is how the Civil War impacts society. So you want a question that falls under that focus. Also, make sure that your question is a higher order question. To develop a higher order question, it should start with why, how, or what impact. When you're reviewing questions, avoid selecting a question that you can answer with a yes or a no. Let's take a look at an example together. The source that I was interested in was the postage stamp featuring Stand Watie. He was a Cherokee Indian and the last general to surrender for the Confederate States of America. Here's the stamp. Based on this source, I came up with these questions. Why did the U.S. Post Office create the stamp in 1995? Why did Stand Watie fight for the Confederacy? What happened to Watie after he surrendered? Based on the topic, I came up with these questions. How did the Civil War impact Native nations? How many Cherokee fought for the Confederacy? Did the Cherokee also fight for the Union? I went back to the criteria and thought about which are higher level questions or questions that I would want to further research. For example, did the Cherokee also fight in the Union is a lower level question that can be answered with a yes or no, so I didn't select it. I narrowed it down to 3 topics and questions. The first question, why did we fight for the Confederacy, is too narrow and would be hard to find enough information on. The second is too broad and would be too much information to go through. How were Native Americans impacted by the Civil War? The third is just right. How were the Cherokee impacted by the Civil War? I can find sources on the topic, but it's specific enough that the information wouldn't be overwhelming. Now that we reviewed how to formulate a research question, it's your turn.